Mass immigration puts an unacceptable strain on public services, squeezes the wages of the low-paid and forces them out of jobs. That's according to the Home Secretary, Theresa May. Let's have a listen to what she had to say when she spoke to the Conservative Party conference a few moments ago.
Because when immigration is too high, when the pace of change is too fast, it's impossible to build a cohesive society. It's difficult for schools and hospitals and core infrastructure like housing and transport to cope. And we know that for people in low-paid jobs, wages are forced down even further, while some people are forced out of work altogether.
Theresa May. Well, Peter Hitchens, interesting for Theresa May to condemn high rates of immigration, its effect on society, bearing in mind her government's record.
Well, hilarious. And it's wonderful to hear these sentiments issuing from the mouth of the Home Secretary after years and years and years in which people like me have been saying this and have been dismissed as marginal racists for suggesting that it might not be a particularly good idea. All the things she says are true, but she's not going to do anything about it. So why does she bother saying it?
Right. Well, do you have a view on that? Why is she bothering? I mean,
because this is the Conservative Party conference, and this is the moment at which Conservative Party politicians pretend for a few days to be Conservative.
Right, but it won't have passed anyone in the audience by the fact that the figure at the moment on net migration is at an all-time high and has been climbing, that they failed, the government, to meet their target last time, and yet have decided to set another target this time round.
I think government policy is actually to have large-scale immigration because it's part of their economic plan. They need it to achieve what they're trying to achieve, which they will probably fail at, but leave that aside. And it's amazing the way that they will not tell the truth about it. But it is the most extraordinary thing, this so-called Conservative Party, which gathers every year and before a dwindling audience of supporters proclaims its supposed conservative credentials. It just isn't really what it says it is. If they meant this, then they would, as a party, have gone into the last election saying we will take this country out of the European Union the only way in which we can recapture control of our borders. They didn't do so. Rather than do that, they're going to have this referendum, which is, of course, an abdication of responsibility by the leadership of the Conservative Party on the biggest issue that faces the country.
So what impact will that have on the audience? They're listening to Theresa May, who know this and yet wonder why she is yet again restating a policy that the government is failing to meet. I mean, is it purely because she is trying to distinguish herself from Boris Johnson in a future leadership battle?
One has to guess that it's about this. If you want to know the reaction of the Conservative Party membership, I suppose you have to go around them all and wake them up and find out what it is, because most of them appear to me to be asleep all the time. They have absolutely no connection. All the time, no connection between what they want the government to do and what it does, and yet they continue to vote for it.
And yet they did just win.
They did, indeed. They just won an election. I mean, in some ways, the most hilarious moment since Henry Kissinger was given the Nobel Peace Prize. How did a party like that win a general election?
Right. I mean,
politics came to an end for me at that moment. I couldn't understand what was going on anymore.
Right. I mean, will there be a reaction that is cynical in terms of thinking, well, we just prefer you, we think or trust you to do something about immigration more than the other lot?
Well, I hope not, but I fear that all that will happen is that people will, to the extent that they're capable of having any reaction at all about this, the supporters of the Conservative Party will believe that this in some way symbolises an intention to act, whereas in fact it is just an intention to soothe them a long, long way from the next election on a subject about which the Conservative Party will never do anything at all.